Welcome, fellow YouTubers. So today, let's see if I can get this rear end in this 1937 Ford. I'm thinking of repurposing most of this original factory forelink that was in that other car. But first things first, let me start cutting off the brackets and then marking out my beam so I can actually weld the beam to the chassis and to the differential, keeping it where I want it in comparison with the body and the fender as well. Let me start cracking. Just flip this over and cut. Nice deer. Ja. Kijk, dat de kijkkant snijdt. Right, let's determine the thickness of a shaft. To mark it out, I'm gonna cut this thing in two and I have two sections that will go over the diff. This is just to keep the car at the ride height I want and to set the pinion angle of the differential. That's all. This will be cut out later again. Let me see. It's all about determining how thick that shaft is. So I'm gonna double check it. 76. Okay. 76. Right. Let's also determine the thickness. So that shaft is as thick as it's from wall to wall. Actually, that's quite perfect. Okay, let me get the center of this. Can mark it like that also. Now that's a bit close to the 40. You run it like this. And then and even do this. Go down. That should be my cutout. You just use my hammer and my punch. Daar agter jou my hammer. Just to mark my center mark. Other side also, and we'll draw a line. Will be lekker. I need to sharpen this chalk. Okay. I know it's a huge hammer, eh? Mark and determine this as well from here. Perfect. Bit over. Just gonna scrub this. And then I do it on the same on the other side. Okay. Alright, let me quickly chop out my half moons and then determine how high this car should sit off the ground with the differential. And chop these equally exactly the same size so I can tack it to the chassis right about here and tack it to the diff. Righty then. Let me get this differential underneath the car so long, because I have to jack it up so the hub is about the height of a wheel off the ground. Then I've got more or less how it's going to stand, but I want to lower it a bit in the front, about 2-3 inches because of engine weight, but we'll get to that now. Just get my trusty old jack. Okay, now that I've got this level, and according to the chassis it's also level, that's about the right height I'm looking for. Maybe I'll drop it down a small bit more. I'll show you guys later on the chassis itself, but it's level. Let's determine how long our braces has to be just to hold this in place. And still I must hold it at the angle as well that I require for the pinion. And center. There we can make it on 6.5. Alright. Okay. Let me quickly square and do that. Roughly square. Because if a diff is hanging on this, it's just easier to set up the 4-link bars and everything for the 4-link. Because we're using a factory 4-link without raised joints and adjustability actually. Just mark it so I can see where to cut. I'm not gonna probably install the top links today, as our lovely weather seems overcast and wants to threaten us with rain. But I'll probably end up notching and putting a beam like this for the top links. Let's see how far we can get. Yeah, these must be precise, because I'm gonna hang the diff of them. So they must both be the same size. Exactly the same size. quickly chop this. So basically, the idea will be as such. Like you can see there, let me chop the other one and let's put them in their places. First, I have to also mark the center line of that rubber that's the bump stop. Okay. Perfect. Perfect, like you can see. Okay. Now remember, I marked the line in the center. This is actually to guide it with this. You determine the center there. Keeping the tape on 100. 55, so 22.5. 22.5. Good paint we used on this chassis when I did do that. That should be the center. Also pop it. Just lay down on this side a bit. We'll check now again if it's square and everything before we do other things. Alright. We install the other side as well, and then we'll just tack it to the chassis, not weld completely, because remember that's just a guide for our ride height for our differential. I did measure it with the front hub, like you can see that's the height of your tire. Perfect. Quickly do the other side. Right, let me just put a wheel on this so we can see relatively in our mud guards that we do have, not really mud guards, but yeah, what we do have, how the wheel spacing is sitting with the mud guard before we tack our support blocks to the frame. And then we can center the differential properly and play with the pinion angle before we start doing the bottom link bars, seeing how we're going to accommodate them. Oh, it's going to take a while. Not going to be too low, and can always lower it after that when I've got my angles and my bars right set up. I don't want it too low either. Still want that stock look and appearance almost. Okay. I know it's not the best, but this is what we have for this car. According to this, it's quite close. It's perfect on a bump stop in the center. Okay. Now that I've straightened this a bit, again, that's to there, that's to there. That seems 100%. I can tweak the mud guard a bit. I've got a lot of panel beating and plate work on these. Let me take off the wheel, clean here, and tack those stilts in place. Really drop or lower the car too much, because I've got to play with the arch still. And I don't want to cut too much of the mud guard out to drop the car. Need to grease these things, or Q20 them. We'll get to that. Right, let me tack this thing. Yeah, I'll tack it first, then I'll clean some more. There we go. If we give it a lacquer run, I'll cut it off later. Probably end up tacking on this side as well. We'll get to there just now. Just up the current a bit. All right, that should be sufficient. Let me do the other side. Say, okay. Tagged underneath. Right, now switch off so I can center this diff, this rear end, and take it from there and pick up the pinion to the angle I want. Just release tension off here. All right. All right, that's loose enough. Let me just measure both sides. 50. It says 5. Too much. 5, 5. Ah, 4. There we go. Should be that. Okay, still got to move a small amount. Not that much. Five. Should be 158 about. Much. No, too much now. 5. 157. 157. Perfect. Perfect. Let me tension it and then get my pinion angle where I want it. That should be almost there. Let's play the guessing game on the pinion angle quickly. And then it's normally 4 or 5 degrees. With the line of the pinion, should come up quite a bit, eh? A bit more. Bit more. That should be, yeah, that's perfect. That's the guessing game done. Let me tack the diff to our supports. Okay, front side. Right. I'm not worried too much about cleaning. I'll clean later. Because it doesn't have to be a super strong weld or tag. It's just to hold this thing in place properly so I can do my links. Alright, so this is the forelink out of that car that I chopped the suspension out of. My plan is to weld it to the chassis frame rail and to put a gusset on the inside later. Now I'm going to tack it all in place to see how it looks, because it was a triangulated forelink. Let's see. Just jack it a bit. They perform the best when this piece at the back is actually level. Let me just see. Just position it to where it should be. Okay. Just move that. But it's gonna fight me. Check, it's gonna fight me. Right. Should be it. That should be it. Still triangulated forelink. Just get a hammer to adjust it into place. Side. That's it. Pretty much in its place now. And it's actually fitting nicely to the chassis here. Wow. Not ask for a better fit. It's just it needs to go in a bit. Alright, now I can quickly just do this on here and then I'll glue that on there. Right, let me just do it in the front here and then I can get it on here. But I'm gonna have to box this chassis as well, so I'm gonna have to take this off to do the top links and box the chassis at the back. Okie dokie. Now we glue that bracket to the chassis and we've got our bottom links in. Right it in. like you can see, that's what we want. Our link bar level, and that level straight up, and that's our bottom link bars done. So let me thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for all our loyal subscribers. Please like and subscribe for more content on rusty piles of junk like these. Thank you everybody. Peace out.